Oh, you startled me. I didn't see you there. Welcome back to the channel, though. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Oneleaf NV200. I guess I'll call it a binocular because it does sort of take that form factor, but truly it's actually a monocular because it only has one objective lens. The other thing you're seeing here is an IR lens, and that's going to project a big beam of IR light so that you can see at night with this thing. The other thing on top here is a rangefinder. So you're going to be able to see in the day, you're going to be able to see in the night, and you're going to be able to range targets in either day or night with this thing.
Let me cut myself off right there. So as I was editing this video, Oneleaf actually sent me an email and said that they had upgraded the firmware. So now this thing has the same ballistics calculator as the NV400 scope, which I previously reviewed. So I'm going to show you that in a second. One other thing I'm not sure if I mentioned in this video, you can turn on and off backlit buttons. So that makes it really nice at night so you can actually see what you're doing. But we'll go ahead and get into the menu here. So it's got a pretty expansive menu. And if I go down into ballistic parameters, and this is the game changer. So you can put in all of your ballistics information in there. And now you can use your NV200 range-finding binoculars to actually get your drop. So check this out. So I'm going to exit that by pressing the menu button a couple of times. All right, so I'm looking at a fence over there, and I'm just holding the phone behind the unit here. So I'm just going to range that fence. Okay, so it's 69.44 yards. Nice. And it's telling me my drop. So 2.43 or 48, I think it says 2.48 MOA. So you can now put in your ballistics data. So this thing is going to replace not only my binoculars, but also my rangefinder, which has ballistics in it as well. So really excellent feature that they just added in, and I wanted to front load that and show you guys that at the beginning of this video because that is a game changer right there.
So that's pretty cool. It's got a huge battery capacity. It takes three 18650 batteries, and I ran it all day at a match, and it worked perfectly all day, barely even touched the battery. But before we get into my testing and everything with it, let's show you guys the unboxing from the first day I got it, just so you guys sort of know what it comes with and kind of see the presentation of the product as you open the box.
Having just today received the Oneleaf NV200, let's go ahead and do our typical unboxing. And as we can see here, we've got the nice glossy, no expense spared packaging on this bad boy with a lot of details written right on the packaging. So we can see it has 20 times digital zoom, 4K 120 frame per second recording, and a 1969 foot detection range, which is telling me rangefinder. So let's take a look at the rest of the features listed on the box. Okay, we said 120 frames per second 4K. You could take photos with it. Up to a 256 gigabyte card you can slap in it. It's got the micro HD port on it, just like the Oneleaf NV400 scope that we reviewed earlier. It's got a microphone on it, and it is IPX6 water resistant for those outdoor environments. Good. And then on the other side, okay, so it's got a multi-coated lens, just like the other rifle scope from them that we reviewed. Infrared LED attached, which is nice. 8 gears. I wonder if that means like 8 levels. It does have a rangefinder. Very cool. Interchangeable lens. So this one they sent with the 50 millimeter lens, which I'm told is better at night. They also offer a 70 millimeter lens, which can also be used at night, but that one is supposed to be better in the day. Again, we have up to 20 times digital zoom and a picture-in-picture function. But anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes here, which is the actual product. All right, opening this thing up, we've got our manual. As I always say, guys, always read the manual so you know what you're doing and you don't break the product. Little support email, 2-year warranty, not bad. Especially on an electronic product, a 2-year warranty is pretty good. Little chamois cloth for the lens, I would assume. And let's look at the unit itself. Man, this thing is kind of big. Okay, sweet. So we've got all the buttons on top, zoom in and out. You've got your record buttons, power, IR, picture-in-picture, and a laser, I think. What's not on? Menu. And looks like that's the IR here, a big one, so that should give us plenty of throw. And then we've got the lens there, and looks like maybe a spot to attach a rangefinder. Really big field of view in there, dang. Okay, what else do we have? Charging cable. There's the rangefinder. Sweet. So that looks almost exactly like the one that was on the scope that they previously provided. Looks like we have a sling for it to wrap it around your neck and let it hang. What's this? Okay, little camera tripod attachment. Very nice. And, oh, we got a cover for it. So this is sort of reminds me of the NV100 cover that comes with their scope attachments. And we've got the Allen keys and what I assume are the screws and an extra one for mounting up that rangefinder. Looks like that just goes on like this. As I put fingerprints all over the rangefinder, we'll clean those off later, but that's how it's going to look. Very cool. And that's what you get in the box.
All right, so now that you know what it comes with, let's talk a little bit further about this thing. Pretty nice product presentation, though. It's got a lot of stuff that it comes with, and box is really nice and all that. We always appreciate that. And I've actually become a pretty big fan of Oneleaf products. Back when I was just starting the channel, they were one of the first people to ever send me anything, which was the NV100 scope attachment. That's basically an attachment that turns your scope into a night compatible scope. It's got a little IR on it as well. And that thing was pretty sweet. I actually got my first airgun Coyote with it. So definitely a pretty cool product. Check that out. And then more recently, I reviewed the Oneleaf NV400, which is their full-on rifle scope. It's got ballistics calculations in it. It's got a rangefinder attached to it. And that thing was freaking sweet. You can do that in day or night also. So it's basically like the rifle scope version of this. So back to this thing. It's a pretty nice unit, right? It's very, very power capable with those three 18650 batteries in it. It's got up to 20 times digital zoom. So you've got the plus and the minus here to zoom in or out. And I found that the zoom is actually pretty respectable. And a lot of products with digital zoom, it kind of gets pretty pixelated once you get up there in the higher levels. This thing, not so bad. Now let me explain the actual optical lens here. Mine is the 50 millimeter. They do offer a 70 millimeter, and I believe a smaller one, I think it's 30 millimeter. And it's got like a quick locking latch here so you can swap those out. But the reason I got the 50 is because I was talking to them before they sent this out, and they said, okay, well, what do you really want to do with it? Do you want it more in the day or do you want it at night? And I said, well, I'd like to use it at night. It's more of, you know, it's designed kind of as a night device. And so they said, okay, we're going to send you the 50 millimeter lens with it. And they explained that the 50 is better at night and the 70 millimeter lens is like if you want to get really good images and stuff in the day. So I got this one and it's been pretty good. My main question about the daytime though was, can I use this at an NRL 22 match to call impacts? Just a little bit of background information on that. At an NRL 22 match, a lot of guys will have their tripod with binoculars on it, and they'll be using that to call impacts on targets at various distances up to 100 yards. And sometimes some of the bonus stages go out to 200-300 yards even. So I wanted to see, can this hang as an optical device to call impacts at an NRL 22 event? And we'll show you that footage here next.
All right, Eric's up. Here's the course of fire. Starting from the left, we got 40 yards, 55 yards, 60 yards, and then 89 yards.
I lost track of what I was doing.
And I think we can use this to track those. So I'll record on the unit here, and we'll let you check that out.
Impact. 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 Six. Got him for 6.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, so the Oneleaf has been on for about 4.5 hours, and earlier it was baking in the sun. Now it's kind of getting rainy, but the pink flag targets, the one on the left is at 200 yards, the one on the right is at 150, and we can see those pretty well even with this. But what I was going to say is, look in the bottom right, that battery has barely gone down in 4.5 hours, and that's because it uses 3 18650 batteries. So I'm sure it'll be less when you have the IR on at night, but for daytime use you definitely can use this at NRL 22, and it works really well. Everybody here liked it, and next we'll look at some night stuff.
Not so bad, right? I thought this thing was pretty sweet, and the battery life was fantastic. I left it on all day, sitting there baking in the sun, and then it actually started raining later that day, so it got some water on it and it was perfectly fine, and the battery was barely touched. Also, everybody at the match really liked this thing. At the end, they were kind of crowding around my tripod to take a look through it, and people thought it was pretty cool. They had never really seen something like this, or never seen anybody use an actual digital optical device to call hits before. So it worked pretty well for that. Now, the main thing about this thing is the night capability. So we're going to get into that next. Let me show you a quick clip from the day that I got this thing. It's crazy. I opened it out of the box and just started looking around, and I spotted a gigantic raccoon, which I couldn't see with my naked eye. So that's like the thing about this, right? Is if you get something like this, you're going to see all types of stuff at night that you would have never seen without it. So let me show you that clip next.
Look at that. On my first time taking this thing out, I'm looking into pitch blackness. And who do I see? A raccoon 50 yards away. And sorry if this is a little shaky, I'm holding it offhand. But that is pretty good, man. I can't believe the clarity on this thing. I did focus it up a bit to get it really that nice at about 50 yards. And let's go ahead, we'll use the laser rangefinder and just kind of confirm that that was about 50 yards. Yep, 50 yards. Very nice. 50.42, and where that guy was standing it was about 44 yards. Very cool. And there's the neighbor's car, also about 45 yards away. 46 yards. Very nice. I'm impressed with this thing, and it's only my first night having it.
So that was a pretty cool chance occurrence that I just captured that big raccoon walking around just by simply turning these on and looking around. So very cool. But for the real night vision test, we're going to go to a local park that has a big giant hill, and it provides a really nice vantage point. So I'm going to get up there and we'll take a look at various distances with this thing and just give it a real performance evaluation of how it does at night across a variety of different distances and looking at a variety of different objects at night. So we'll check that out next.
Man, the things I do for you guys, I swear. It's about 11:30 p.m. I'm at the park on top of this giant hill. Behind me, we can see some lights, which are at either the baseball field or the skate park down there. And that's giving us some light up here on this hill. But if I turn around to my other side, down there, it is supremely dark on the other side of the hill. So we're going to take a look around at some various distances with this Oneleaf NV200, and we'll show you what it looks like at various distances here. Okay, I am standing at the top of this hill looking down the hill here. I've got a tree down there in a little enclosure, and I will range that. So we've got 106.6 yards there, so pretty far distance at night to be seeing, and I've got it in nice focus. If any little rabbit or even a mouse walked by at this distance, the IR would definitely shine his eyes, but other than that, I would be able to make out small creatures like that at 106 yards with this thing, no problem. And this is all the way zoomed out. Another thing that this thing has, which is kind of cool, is it has a laser on here. So I just took it out of IR mode. So before I show you the laser, this is 0 IR, this is setting 1, and that IR beam is focusable. So I can actually zoom it way in and almost make it like a flashlight, or zoom it way out. So I'm kind of like in the midway setting, which does pretty well. So again, that's on setting 1, that's 2, 3, you can see it getting brighter, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And for this video, I'm just going to leave it right now on 8 unless we start getting washout, because IR will wash out if you've got like sticks and stuff close to you and you're shining a super bright IR at it. But let's take a look at that laser, which is kind of cool. So it does have a little laser I can point at stuff just to kind of see where you're pointing your unit, which is pretty cool. Nice that they threw that in there at the bottom of the unit. And that's how it looks at 100 yards, so pretty good. I'm going to take a look at a couple of other distances from the top of this hill down on the dark side of this hill, so we can see how this works at night and give you guys an overall feel for how good this thing is. But so far I am very impressed. I've been using this for a couple of months now, and it is really good clarity at night. Like, it is, you'd be able to see anything coming, especially animals with that IR glinting off of their eyes. So we'll take a look at some farther distances here next. Alright, I'm now looking way across a pond down there. There's a park bench there we can see, and let's laser. Okay, so that's 170 yards to the park bench there, and pretty nice image quality. We'll see if we can zoom in here, and I might need to adjust the focus here as we do. You always want to be matching your focus, and not only on the optical lens but also on the IR. So that's 8 times right there. We can see the park bench pretty clear. I'm going to play around with the focus here. Okay, so that's worse. Alright, good. Getting worse. Okay, so we want to be somewhere right around right there. So, and that is pretty good. That's on full IR. I don't think I necessarily need full IR to see that pretty well from here. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put about half, and I can also start focusing that in, and it's pretty powerful of an IR beam for sure. So I'm gonna try to get a really good focus by zooming in on my IR a bit. That's maybe too much, but yeah, pretty good focus there. And I'll back out, so that's 8 times zoom. I'll back out here back to 0, and we'll back out on the IR. So pretty good. 170 yards, you would 100% be able to see a person or a coyote or even a rabbit coming up that black path or sitting on that park bench for here at 170 yards, which is pretty impressive. Okay, so now I'm looking at another point across the pond there. If I laser that, it's about 230 yards. And I do apologize, there's a train going by, so you'll hear some noise. There's also some terrible emo sounding band at the dive bar that I keep hearing as well, so my apologies if you hear that. But alright, so we're looking 230 yards across that pond. I can zoom in with my IR beam and really get a spotlight down there. So that is the max. That's kind of almost unusable. If I back out to like there, that's pretty good. And we'll go ahead and 230 yards, we'll zoom in. Let's go to like 10 power on this one and just see how that looks. Okay, pretty nice. And man, up on this hill, somebody's got a smoker going, and I can just smell it up here. It smells great. That's probably not coming through on camera though. This thing does not pick up smells, just so you guys know. But I'm playing around a little bit with the focus here. Okay, that's worse. And that's pretty good. So 10 power out at 230 yards, and then I'll back that back out to 0 power. So you would 100% be able to see a person from there. Let me see if I can find something even further to look at up here, and we'll take a look at how that looks. Alright, we're going into voiceover mode here. Reason being, it was getting really windy and stormy, as you could tell in the last little clip, and it was really blowing out the mic on the Oneleaf unit. So the rest of the footage was recorded with just using the mic on the unit. But anyway, here we're looking at a tree with the two trunks there. It's at 325 yards, and you can just see it plain as day. So at that distance, you would even be able to see a human easily. You'd be able to see a coyote. I think you'd even be able to see a rabbit very easily, and maybe even down to a mouse if you're using a high IR intensity, because you're going to shine the eyes on any critter. Even at that distance, I think you'd be able to see it. So I was pretty impressed with the long-range capabilities of this thing. For sure, it is definitely useful, especially if you're a night hunter. And as you've seen, I've showed you 100 yards. I've showed you over 200. I think the last one was 230, and then this one is 325. So overall, pretty impressive. And just a reminder, play with your settings a little bit, because you're going to have to do the manual focus on the optical lens, and then you're going to have to do some focusing on the IR, and then you can also change the intensity up and down on the IR as you see me doing here. But yeah, overall I'm pretty impressed with this unit. I'm going to show you a few more clips as I walked back to the truck with just various close distances at night, so you can kind of get a feel for that too, including some wildlife. So I got a little bit of cool footage there, so let's check that out next. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I just came off the hill and I'm looking over the lake, and I can see ducks and stuff here. And this is with zero IR on. This is just using the ambient light with the Sony Starvis chipset in there. No additional IR here, and I can just see over the lake and all these ducks and stuff. Pretty cool, just using the ambient light that's coming down from various light sources onto the lake. So pretty good image quality, man, for especially for no IR. I mean, look at that, very sharp. And there's some more ducks I can see across the lake. If I range find those guys, about 85 yards. So that's pretty good clarity. This is with zero IR. Let's see what happens if I do put some IR on these guys though. Okay, that's level 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we start to see the eye shine there, which is kind of cool. What's that? Do we have like a, is it like a beaver or something? Maybe just some more ducks. Okay. No, I think that was a beaver. That scared all the ducks away. Pretty cool to catch that footage at night. I'm just catching tons of wildlife that I probably wouldn't see normally. We've got, I don't know what kind of bird that is. At first I thought it was an egret, but not too sure. But I certainly wouldn't be seeing him at night without this thing, that is for sure. So he's commingling in there with all the ducks, getting his night hunt on, and probably unaware that I'm looking at him with IR. But that's pretty cool. I can't get enough of just checking out wildlife with this. So I've got the IR only on the first setting, but we can see a little family of geese with all the babies there. And let me range those for you guys. So that's at 35 yards and very dark in the middle of this lake right here. But pretty cool that we can see that like that. When you get one of these things, you will definitely do a lot of night animal watching, and it's stuff that you definitely would not see with your naked eye, but they're out there, man, so gives you a pretty good capability at night. This here is a little waterfall that goes under this bridge, and I'm trying to hold it pretty still for you guys, but you can see this is only on setting 1 of IR, and you can see all the detail on that rock, and it's just giving me a really nice image of all of this stuff focused close in. Alright, and just as one last little piece of this night filming at the park, I am, let's see, we'll laser my truck 34.23 yards away, and that's with zero IR, just the ambient light coming in, and we can totally see my whole truck. So I'm pretty happy with the sensor on this thing. It is nice for the price what you get here. A binocular that you can see in day and night with really good clarity. So hopefully you guys like the night footage here.
All right, so I think I've showed you everything I can show you about this thing. I've showed you the unboxing, I've showed you daytime footage, I've showed you nighttime footage. It's got a pretty good menu in here as well. Pretty capable unit with a ton of functionality. I like this thing. I'm going to continue using this thing in lieu of my optical binoculars, which I just bought, and I wish I didn't because they don't have a rangefinder, and this thing does, and it can see at night. So I think it's a better option than a lot of, you know, optical binos if you're looking for something that can see pretty well out to a pretty good distance and have night vision and have a rangefinder. So if you guys are looking to pick one of these up, I will drop a link in the comments and description below. I think I have a discount code for you. If I find that, I'll drop that in there. But definitely, I would recommend this thing. It is a sweet unit. So hope this was helpful. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.